Why do you think there's such resistance to what you're doing?
Okay, so if there's a paper that's published out there, accepted by the peers, that messenger RNA kills the bifidobacteria, then lawyers come in and say, but we have this paper that shows, therefore, we should have a liability against the pharmaceutical company.
Well, now with COVID vaccine.
Yeah, well, because they have immunity. But here's the thing. Anything that destroys from the narrative, that removes away from the narrative, doesn't sell a product, right? So think about, the whole pandemic, people said treatment didn't work. But yet, I lost no one during the pandemic. No one died on my shift, and I've treated thousands of patients. So does treatment not work?
With COVID.
With COVID, patients with COVID, I've treated thousands of patients and no one died on my shift. And I published a paper that showed that we treated, almost 24 patients with treatment, multi-drug therapy, including ivermectin. And these patients with hypoxic patients lived.
Explain hypoxic.
Hypoxic, oxygen less than 90%.
Yep.
Okay, so oxygen saturation less than 90%. Patient comes in, crashes in my office, 63% oxygen. I treat them. Their oxygen goes up to 78 to 82 to 92. Patient lives, okay? Not admitted to the hospital. These are outpatients, patients that basically stayed at home that we treated with multi-drug therapy.
What did you treat them with?
Well, a combination. So if they were super sick, for example, the diabetic, COPD, I would give hydroxy, azithromycin, vitamin C, D, and zinc, high dosages, and then I would give ivermectin, high dosages. And basically that's how I discovered that ivermectin, when you give it at a high dose and the patient is low oxygen, their oxygens went up.
Thousands of patients?
Not 1,000. I'm talking about the hypoxic patients.
Oh.
I had probably about 40 patients that were hypoxic.
Okay.
But we published on, whatever number we had informed consent and everything to publish because we did a retrospective study on all those patients. So we looked at all our data and we said, well, let's look at all the hypoxic patients that we treated at home to kind of showcase that treatment was possible, right? If we published that paper was retracted. Okay. Now, this paper shows that there's a possibility of treating patients at home. That removes the whole narrative that you have to go to the hospital, that you have to go intubated. That puts a liability now on all the people that intubated patients. So that's the problem. The narrative is guided this way to push everybody to this standard of care. And here's an outlier that shows, hey, she treated these hypoxic patients and they survived.